right, let's do this. All right, first off, good evening. My name is Nigel Chambers. I'm from Big Gold Belt Media. Chris and Romero, it's a pleasure to talk to you today about your new film, Fallen Fruit, which is going to be premiering at Miami Film Festival in just a few days. How you two doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I am
I'm doing
well.
great too. How are you?
Good, good, good. Yeah, congratulations on the film. Big deal. And I want to kind of start with you, Chris. I want to get clarification on a few things. So going back to 2022, so the New Orleans Film Festival South Pitch competition. Can you
Mhm.
explain not only what that is, but what did it mean to you?
Yeah, good question. I'm glad you asked about that. New Orleans Film Festival is a super cool festival. That's one of our top goals this year. Um, and to be able to get into their South Pitch program, really meant it was like one of those things that was just like a stamp of approval that really meant a lot to me. Because I've admired what that festival does for so long. So for them to see the idea for Fallen Fruit and be like, yeah, that's pretty good, and we want to see that come true was really great. I didn't end up winning the pitch contest. I was only a finalist, but to even be there and then I forgot what the name of the winner. I think it was Maya. I think Maya won, and I was just so excited that she won too. So just to even be in the room with a list of great people was amazing.
Yeah, because I was wondering, I was like, okay, so and seeing that, and congratulations to that. To this point too, I was like, well, did it premiere at New Orleans? So I'm guessing because only whoever won the competition would have had to officially made their premiere there. So
I don't know if she's made the film yet, but it was just the pit. It was just the idea for the film. Yeah.
okay, okay, but so you bring your feature length debut back to Miami, which nothing against New Orleans or anything here, but I mean, come on now, we're talking about coming back home with your feature length film. And in this matter, it's like your golden egg here. So essentially the stars all aligned and how it should be done. What does it mean both for you two now to bring such an important film to the Miami Film Festival, obviously, Chris, with this being something very close to you as it mirrors portions of your life.
Yeah, it means so much to me. I mean, I the film is like my own experiences and my own experiences learning to love Miami and learning to love staying here and living here. And I think my biggest goal and my biggest hope is that people that live here now, that may hope to move to New York or LA, see the movie and are like, no, actually, I get what this guy's saying. I want to stay here for a little longer. That's my biggest goal.
Yeah, yeah. Remember, what about you stepping into this role of Alex? I'm very confident a lot of folks are going to see themselves in Alice and even myself, in the terms of some of the even the smallest things and not really realizing what's right in front of you. I think we get to a point of always thinking we need to escape or grass is greener on the other side, but just realizing just the blessings that are right in front of you. What did this character mean to you, and how special is it for you to bring this character, this role to this film to Miami?
For me, it was very special. To also aside from the character and myself, it was very special for me to be able to help Chris tell the story. It's his story, and he wrote it in such a way, which is also part of what made me so interested in being a part of it. But then once we were there and shooting, uh, he gave me a lot of room to be able to tell his story my way. So
Mm.
in a way, it became a lot me, and that means a great deal because being able to say I'm in this movie and I'm proud of what I did and what we did is very exciting. And being in the Miami Film Festival is very, very exciting. So
Yeah. How'd you two discover each other?
here's the insert funny story.
So anyone who doesn't know, this is kind of like inside base or back whatever inside baseball. But there's this website called Backstage that lots of people use to audition actors and stuff. Um, and when I was going through the list of people that were and I think did you express whatever he expressed interest in the role, and then I was like, oh, that's funny. That's my dad's name. And I don't know how Ramiro feels, but I feel like I've never seen the name Ramiro. I rarely ever see it. I usually see Romero, but never Ramiro.
Yeah.
So I was super excited to see it. To see him and just be like, oh, okay, cool. I guess I'll let him read for the role because that's my dad's name. Um, and it kind of just worked out because he read for it and he was great. It was kind of one of those things that he read for the meeting and I was like, yep, that's him. I have no doubt.
Yeah, that's funny. I agree. I never see my name almost anywhere. My girlfriend says she grew up seeing it. I'm like, that's not, I don't think that's true. I think you're making it up.
Well, that's an argument you don't want to have, even though you're absolutely right.
Yeah, you can't argue with Abuelas.
Yeah.
Amazing. The more and more you think about this film, the more and more it just seems to just transcend of just being a film. Even that connection there feels a little angelic. I want to talk about a particular aspect of the film, and that's the presence of the hurricane. One, you say a hurricane in the film, you think natural disaster, and you're like, oh, time to prepare for whatever it's going to bring. Uh, I felt that way for about 5 minutes, and then I started to feel like this was something more metaphorical. Could you tell me what the significance of the hurricane, the presence of the hurricane, and with Chris, the question's directed to you, but then to come back to you, Ramiro, to talk about another particular scene in conjunction to that, what does the hurricane meant for Alex when sitting in the bathtub? Because there's again, I think there's messages in here besides just a hurricane's coming, please survive this or protect yourself, whatever it may be. So could you talk about the importance of the hurricane and what's it contributes to the film message?
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know where you've grown up, where you live, but in Miami, it's like it's an every summer thing. There's always going to be a hurricane, whether it's a big one or a small one, whether it's a category 3 just a depression. There's always one. And there's always the threat every year of there being like the big one. The big storm's going to come. The next Hurricane Andrew is going to come. Um, and then it never really does come, or it feels like maybe things get close, but there's never really a big one. And being here, it's just you're constantly afraid every summer that this big thing is going to come and wreck everything. And for me, I think that feeling is always present, and that was one of the things that made me really come to terms with my love for Miami. Was Hurricane Irma, because that was probably one of the worst hurricanes that I've been through in my adult life. Um, so so yeah, and that kind of made me realize that yeah, one day a really big hurricane is going to come and it's going to wash this all away. So I got to learn to love to appreciate it now as it is before it's gone.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah,
mm. How about you, Ramiro?
For me, well, I don't want to give away too much, but for me, at that point in the movie, the character realizes if I'm not with it, I'm against it. And, if I'm not with it, I'm going to be against it. So I'm going to be having to fight every single step. And that's just not, not a way of living.
The appreciation of life
Yep.
yeah,
is
for sure.
truly what I got from this. This is why I think there's going to be so many tidbits within the film that people are going to appreciate. And for somebody who hasn't spent much time in Miami, I think it's a beautiful thing because I agree. Living in Washington, D.C., a lot of folks think the glorified cities to go to is one, New York, two, LA, and there's nothing else that falls under that. But
Yeah.
to give love back to your own city, I think is truly going to win folks over, and also probably make it a destination, even though they don't want no more spring breaks or things going down South Beach no
that
more.
that made me so upset because I just wanted to go see movies on South Beach and I just couldn't because they increased the parking and it was terrible. It was terrible. But yes, yeah.
Yeah. So, Chris, coming to the brainchild of this here, why was this the one? Why was this the story to pull the trigger to do feature-length film. But independent filmmakers, especially during the pandemic, have really taken a top priority to not only just try to get out as many films as possible, but really just betting on themselves. And that's really bred the creativity of a lot of short films. And whether you had already knew this was going to be the film or you had other ideas down the line, one way or another, you pulled the trigger and said, this is going to be the one. And the stars align. I think it's a perfect time for this story. And considering all things in Florida, South Beach, as we mentioned, and the importance of telling queer stories, why no better time than right now as an outsider? But for you, the person that probably got 1,000 thoughts going on, why was this the one for you right now?
Thank you for that. I really appreciate those kind words. For me, this was one of the first ideas that I had started writing down back like 8, 9 years ago when I first started using film as like a form of like self therapy and just writing scripts. And a couple years ago, I was a part of this program called the Gotham EDU Film and Media Career Development Program. Um, and a part of that was I needed an idea to just workshop and bounce off people and bounce off mentors. And this was one that I had in my files and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll just use this one and go for it. And the more that I did it, the more it had legs, and the more I realized that, how beautiful and poetic it would be if, one of the first ideas that I had when wanting to do film was the first feature film that I made. And it ended up having legs and really working out, and I'm so happy that it did, because it means a lot to me, and I feel like it's a real marker of my growth as a filmmaker and as a person.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one already. I know you gotta get this one debut, but like
Thank
consider
you.
it a fan, absolutely.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate that.
no doubt, no doubt. Romero, you go back to your previous film. If it's not leaving for LA, it's coming back from New York. What has all of these transitions tell you about your own personal journey and applying that into these characters?
So yeah, yeah. I moved when I was young, and making a move is always it's always a big thing. And right before we started shooting, I moved again. I moved to LA from New York. Uh yeah, and it made me realize, how much responsibility there is in moving, and who you bring from the place you're leaving, and who you're gonna become in the place that you go to. I feel like I'm doing the movie again. But that's kind of where, the character came from, and at least from me, obviously not the what Chris wrote, but what I pulled from, and all of that. So it made me think a lot about my personal life, but I'll go into that in my therapy session.
No, and I'm actually the word I was going right at it. I was just going to say, what has this done for you? I think I'll just say for me, it does. It kind of slowed down time a little bit. Kind of had me sit back in a moment of self reflection, and to step into be an actor and to step into the role. I could just imagine just how much more it meant to you in order to really take your mind to the place, and then obviously reflecting back into your own personal journey. So yeah, in terms of therapy, what has the character Alex done for you?
I mean, I was saying it earlier, but it's done so much. Just, it was a wonderful experience, and it didn't happen in LA, but it happened once I moved to LA, and it just made me feel like it was. I know that Chris says we got to keep filmmakers in Miami, and I agree, but for me, it was perfectly timed in a way that was like, I am moving in the right direction, and accepting my choices, even though they're scary.
Yeah, I love it. Beautiful. I'm gonna end with this question here. I think it's another bit of something that I kind of grabbed from the film. Again, being from the DC area, um, friends, there's this idea of success being written by I got to LA, or I made it to LA, or I made it to New York. And so we all know how this story goes. They get there and it's not all what they wanted it to be, or sometimes it revolves them having to come back, reset, and then maybe they go back and do so. Um, which now brings the term success into sort of a relative, almost even a purgatory state at times. For you two, what does success mean? And how can one look into this film to derive their own answer or definition to it? And we'll start with you, Chris.
Jeez, you're good at this. You're good at your job. Um, I think for success to me would be, having a solid filmmaking career in Miami, and making it happen in a place where it feels like it just can never happen. That would be success for me. And I think with the character of Alex specifically, I like to imagine that for him success. I mean, it's based on my own story, so I would imagine he would come to the same realization. But success for him being like learning that he can be happy in Miami. You know.
Ramiro.
Uh, that is a huge question. But for me, I don't know. Success is I'll tell you when I get there.
Mm.
Yeah, but that's kind of, the journey. Success is the journey. And as I was saying earlier, it's already been making this movie has been an amazing experience. The people I got to meet, Chris, now I get to meet you luckily it's been very loving and very nice. So yeah.
I take back my
Beautiful.
answer. Success is the journey. Success is the journey.
No, truly, and before everybody else gets a chance to say it, congratulations once again. And yes, I fully agree. Success is the journey, and as folks get ready to check out this film as it premieres in just a few days at Miami Film Festival, it is already a success because, Chris, and actually both of you two know, whether you're filmmaking, whether you're actor coming from the strike, whether we all just come from the pandemic, there was a long hallway of uncertainty. And to get to this point now that your film is coming out, the world is going to be able to receive it, to take away something from it. That's truly a beautiful thing. And thus I would define that as success for this. But with that being said, we gotta talk again soon. I want to definitely
Yeah.
hear on the other side of the bridge here how was it and so on. But until then, Ramiro, Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you today about Falling Fruit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Great.
Thank you so much, everyone, for checking out this interview. You will be able to keep up with information with the two of them and the film in the description below. But until then, everyone be safe. Much love. And thank you so much for tuning in.